Hey, what's up? So, this is Casey Whitener, and my book is called After December. And somebody told me I should be doing videos. So, here we go. We're going to try this. This is the first video for my book club watchers, and it's thanks to the Lake Carolina Book Club here in Columbia, South Carolina, up on the Upper East Side. Woo woo, Upper East Side. They invited me last week to come and speak with them about After December, and we had a really good conversation around quite a few topics I thought were really interesting that would also help some of our other book club members. There's a great link to the blog down there in the notes there, where you can go and see some of the things that we didn't talk about with the Lake Carolina Book Club that maybe we probably should have. For example, does excessive drinking in your 30s mean that you're going to continue drinking well into your 40s and 50s? I should say drinking in your early 20s. As you know, Brian Listow is the main character of After December, and mostly he and his friends do a lot of boozing, a lot of drugs over the 5 days that the book takes place. Something I wanted to point out, but I didn't point out with Lake Carolina, is that the book is just 5 days. So as much as we think about how much drinking they were doing, they were really only together for 5 days. So this is probably not the way they spend their regular Monday through Friday time period, right? Like they're in school, some of them have jobs. Joel has started his own company. So they're probably not consistent binge drinkers like all the time. In addition to that, it seems to be the way that they cope with the fact that they have this massive grief that's sort of overcome the group and overcome them, and they're not really sure what to do with it, and the drinking sort of helps that. But anyway, the question did come up whether or not that was autobiographical. I'm going to go with no comment on that, but we will say that, or I will say that I think that drinking at that age, at 22, 23, doesn't necessarily mean that that becomes a lifestyle for you for the rest of your life. I think that these people all grow out of it. We all grew out of it. Gen Xers did. We got where we had houses, we had jobs, we had families. It just becomes less important after a while. So I just want to kind of make that point for our book club readers. It does feel like there's a lot of that happening, but remember, it's just 5 days. So anyway. The other thing is the question came up about the suburbs, and that's because we were in Lake Carolina, which is a suburb of Columbia, South Carolina. And we didn't talk a whole lot about what do kids in the suburbs do after school. There's a lot of downtime between the time that kids get let off the bus and when their parents show up after having commuted home from the city. And in the Northern Virginia area, that downtime was put to pretty good use by most of us as teenagers. In the era that Brian is living in the 1990s, there wasn't any social media. There were video games, but most of my friends weren't real gamers. We didn't do a whole lot of that. Mostly they were just hanging out together, just spending time together. You might have had some kind of sports practice or after school activities, but even those didn't last for long enough to really fill that whole gap. They were seasonal. They might be 2 or 3 days a week instead of every single day. There just was a lot of downtime for teenagers. So what we did and how we chose to spend that time, I think shows up pretty clearly in what Brian tells his parents and the way he explains to them that, that he had money, but he didn't have anything to do with that money. It's a little bit different now. I don't know that we need to necessarily be as concerned now, but maybe we need to be more concerned because that downtime still exists. And yet now we also have the internet and all of these social tools that our kids can have access to as well. So something to think about, as much as we had that downtime and we were probably filling it with rolling joints and getting high and listening to Pink Floyd or whatever, we weren't on the internet doing that kind of thing, and there weren't strangers available to us like there are now. So in many ways, it was a little bit of a safer time, and our friends really did provide that insularity that we needed. They provided the support that we needed to keep us safe. They were also the ones to call 911 if something should have gone wrong, but nothing ever did, ever. So anyhow, just a couple things we didn't talk about at Lake Carolina that I wanted to kind of expound on a little bit here. Like I said, there's a blog post on this on my website. You can get more about the book at afterdecember.com. You can also buy the book on Amazon. There's a cool trailer here on YouTube. I'll share that with you as well. The link will be down below. Let me know what you think. These conversations that I'm trying to have, when I'm having them with the video camera, it feels a little bit one-sided, but what I've been told is that people like it. So here you go. Let me know if that's true. And if so, maybe there'll be some more in your future. Again, I'm Casey Whitener. My book is called After December. Thank you to all of my readers. Thank you to everybody who has been out there leaving really gracious and generous reviews on Goodreads and on Amazon. If you haven't gotten the book yet, look out, because on Friday, there's going to be a promotion. All right, keep an eye out. Thank you. Goodbye.